In the past 2.5 years, I've cut a show for Netflix, worked with world-renowned brands, and convinced another 58,000 people to watch a guy cosplay as a budget sci-fi character. And it was all done in this room. While physical things aren't the key to being an amazing creator, I'm a big believer that the right environment and having the right tools to reduce friction can massively improve your focus, which leads to better work. That's why I want to walk you through which items in my setup needed replacing, which new additions have made a huge impact, and which ones surprisingly lasted way longer than I expected. Hopefully this will spark some ideas for your own desk, so let's dive into my setup tour. Let's start off with the one thing in my setup that's never been replaced since I started my career. My desk. This was Frankenstein together with a bunch of cheap IKEA parts, and somehow it's lasted 11 years. I follow one of those IKEA hacks to make a standing desk that would be wide enough to fit everything that's on here. For something made out of particle board, I can't believe that there are barely any dents or scratches on this. The downside to my desk is that there's no motor to adjust the height. If I want to stand, that means I have to clear everything off, flip the desk over, extend each leg, lock it in place, and then flip it back over. That's why you've probably noticed that it stays in seating height, because the older that I get, standing for hours gets pretty tiring. Sitting a lot gives me a reason to get up and move once in a while, but eventually I would love to replace this for an automatic standing desk. But for now, it fits the vibe of the room, so I'm really happy with it, and it proves that you can get away with budget-friendly options. But if there's one thing I should have known to never cheap out on, it's a chair. That's why I'm really grateful to Flexispot for sponsoring this video and sending me their C7 office chair. I used to think that ergonomic chairs were overpriced and overhyped, but as someone who spends hours and hours every day sitting at my desk, I quickly realized that comfort and back support should have been my #1 priority. My old chair was the secondhand IKEA one that I bought off Craigslist, and it felt like sitting on a slab of concrete. Even my cat wouldn't sit on it without adding a butt cushion. But after setting up the C7 and sitting in it for the first time, it was like night and day. The first thing that I noticed was the dynamic lumbar support cushion. It just feels like my back is always supported no matter how I sit. And with how customizable the C7 is, I quickly found my most comfortable settings. The headrest keeps my neck pain-free, the 3D armrests support my editing arms, and the reclining modes feel great for those long gaming sessions. Except when I'm playing League of Legends. I've been using this chair for a couple months now, and honestly, I'm really impressed with how sturdy and comfortable it is. For something that's not crazy expensive or a gimmicky gaming chair, this feels like a great value for an office chair. And you can grab it for even less with my exclusive code C730 to get $30 off on the Flexispot website. Huge thank you to Flexispot for sponsoring this video. Alright, let's get into the heart of my setup, the electronics. Over the past couple years, I have slowly replaced almost every part of my PC because of the most frustrating tech issue I have ever faced in my career. In the middle of editing, my screen would completely freeze and then go black. I tried everything, but nothing worked, and shutting down my PC every time drove me crazy. Until one day, the suffering just stopped. I can't even tell you why, but I can tell you that this current setup has been solid ever since. With these parts, my PC handles everything that I throw at it. I mainly edit footage from my A7S III in both Premiere and After Effects. It's a workhorse that finally lets me focus on my work instead of tech problems. For monitors, I went with these LG ones, and I've really enjoyed working on them for the past 3 years. I used to edit on a 75Hz monitor, and it was really reliable. But when I experienced the smoothness of 144 Hz, it was like drinking a really good cup of coffee for the first time after drinking instant coffee garbage all my life. The thin edges give them a sleek and modern look that's perfect for multi-monitor setups. With that said, my only problem is that after about a year of using them, a yellow tint was more noticeable near the bottom of the screen. Not a big fan of that. You see, it's really subtle, so it's not a big enough problem for me to replace them yet. I also don't think that the high refresh rate has exactly improved my editing in any way, but having a 27-inch monitor feels like a nice sweet spot for comfortable editing. It's definitely more of a quality of life upgrade when you've got that extra cash that you can treat yourself with, or just to keep an eye on when they go on sale. I've been typing on the Alla F98 Pro for the past 6 months, and I absolutely love it. There's just something so nostalgic yet modern about the transparent aesthetic, and it's cool to see this look make a comeback. The typing experience feels really smooth and responsive without being overly loud or clacky, so it's a great choice if you share a workspace. While this is a wireless keyboard, I personally prefer keeping it wired because I'm just too lazy to think about charging it. For me, this keyboard strikes the perfect balance between style, practicality, and performance, so I can see myself typing on this for a long time. For my mouse, I use the Logitech G Pro X Superlight. At first, I wasn't sure about using such a lightweight mouse for video editing, but now, I can't imagine going back to a clunkier mouse. I've come to really appreciate how effortlessly it glides without sacrificing precision or control. I'm really impressed with how clean this mouse still looks, even after countless hours of daily use for over a year. Its minimal design fits right into my setup and has quickly become one of my favorite tools on my desk. The Edifier speakers I use have been super reliable for the past 6 years. They deliver a warm sound with a nice bass, making them really enjoyable to listen through. While they do have a Bluetooth option, I've always kept them plugged into my PC. Now the only reason I wouldn't recommend them is if you don't have the space for bookshelf-sized speakers. Luckily, it's worked really well for me, and I don't plan to replace them anytime soon. When I'm not using my speakers, I rely on the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro. These are really popular in the music production and sound design world for a good reason. They deliver incredibly accurate sound. I used to be into bass-heavy headphones because that's just the way that I enjoy music. But when it comes to editing, I had to put my personal taste aside. Without being an audio nerd, I think the best way to really describe them is that they give a clean and neutral sound. They help me feel more confident about my sound design because I know that I'm listening for practicality and not just enjoyment. They feel robust and have held up really well over the years. It's only recently that the headband cover has started to show a little bit of wear and tear. My only gripe is that if you wear glasses, then this can be a bit of a pain. The tight fit can push the arms of your glasses into your head, and after a while, you might reconsider wearing contact lenses or just sound designing with blurry vision. To get around this, I switched to glasses that are thinner and softer in arms, but this isn't gonna be an issue for you if you don't wear glasses or shades while you edit, if you want to look like a cool kid. I don't know, I'm not judging. But these are hands down one of the best purchases I've made for my setup. The microphone you're hearing me on right now is the Rode NT1A, and it's been great to record on for the past 2 years. Straight out of the box, it delivers great sound quality, and honestly, I've come to really trust Rode products for both audio and filmmaking. Overall, the NT1A has been a solid mic that's never given me a problem for audio recording, like what I'm doing over here. So if you're looking for something high quality with a reasonable price, this one is pretty hard to beat. This setup has become the backbone of my creativity. It's helped me stay in the zone while I edit and makes those countless hours of bringing ideas to life genuinely enjoyable. Of course, there's always room for improvement, so I'd love to hear what's your favorite part of your own setup. Drop in the comments below, and you might just inspire my next upgrade.